Coming up on Texas Parks and Wildlife.
The threat to the Ogallala has led to folks rethinking the value of playas.
There's a story here, and it's a really special story that is both deep-rooted and long-lasting.
I think the jetty here really helps break up the current and the wind.
Texas Parks and Wildlife, a television series for all outdoors.
It's a semi-arid climate, not a lot of rainfall.
In this area of Texas, we have less surface water than anywhere else in the United States.
This is a heavily irrigated part of the state. Those crops are all very important. Those are things that people are consuming every day.
Water has always been there for us. We tend to forget about the vitalness of this resource until we don't have it anymore.
We're extracting more than we're putting back in. This problem is prevalent across the Great Plains.
It's a landscape that's changed drastically over the last 150 years.
There's 300,000 people in Lubbock County alone.
From both residential water use as well as for irrigation and other purposes. We have areas of the Ogallala Aquifer seeing drastic declines in water to the point where some feel that within the next 50 years, some of the aquifer could be completely dry.
If we're going to have future generations on this land, we have to get our water usage rate in balance with our recharge rate.
The water that people drink in Lubbock comes from recharge through the Playas. So we got to keep these things in good condition to provide water for people.
It is ultimately the cheapest water solution for this region.
I'm Don Call. I'm the Region 1 Migratory Game Bird Specialist. Playas, in essence, are a low spot on a relatively flat landscape where water collects. These clay basins are dependent upon rainfall to fill them, and then water infiltrates through these basins down into the aquifer below. The Ogallala Aquifer is one of the largest aquifers in the world and the largest in North America, and it ranges throughout the western Great Plains into the Texas Panhandle and eastern New Mexico. The water from the Ogallala comes from thousands, if not millions of years of infiltration through playa basins. Some of the threats to these playa systems include outright farming, where they've been broken out and they're actually farmed through and crop production occurs in the basin. Also, with farming, the loss of grass buffers. Short grass prairie has been removed around these playas. And what that does is it leaves those playa basins at threat for sediment buildup. As we build up sediment over the top of the clay soils, it affects the functionality of those playas. There's a lot of threats that have come about to playas in particular. Very important system, both from a wildlife perspective and from an aquifer recharge perspective. The Texas Playa Conservation Initiative began back in 2015. It's a multi-agency, multi-partner initiative that works to restore and conserve playas in the high plains of Texas. We cover parts of 46 counties, so we have a very large area that we work within. Whenever there's no crops growing and the fields are barren, you can really see the playas begin to pop out. Based off of satellite imagery, we actually find playas that fit our criteria for restoration. We're looking for playas that have old pits that were dug into them for irrigation. We can see that there's grass around it, and we can see there's a pit in it, and that pretty much tells us we need to try to contact that landowner. These pins indicate some projects that we've completed. We've got a wealth of potential projects out there. We just need willing landowners to work with us. We wanted this program to be as landowner friendly as possible, and so we cover 100% of the cost of the restoration. We also find the contractor, we hire the contractor, and oversee the contractor, and so there's no work on the landowner's part. And then additionally, we also pay a small one-time incentive payment for working with us and doing conservation on their playas. And so that system has been very popular with landowners that we've worked with. They're very happy to see both the wildlife benefits as well as the water quality and quantity benefits that they see for their wells.
Aquifer recharge under a flat piece of land is going to be less than half of an inch on an average year. A lot of that water is evaporated or used by plants before it can actually reach the aquifer. So these playa lakes serve as super recharge zones. We experience between 10 to 100 times more recharge depending on the soils underneath that playa lake.
The dry times, maybe they're not that noticeable, but that dry period is very important because it also serves a very vital function of a playa, which is when it dries up, then cracks form in that lake bottom. And then the next time we do have adequate rainfall and that water does reach that basin, those cracks that have developed since it was dry help really facilitate the infiltration of groundwater. Because it is underground and we don't necessarily see it, monitoring is so very important.
The High Plains Water District goes out annually and measures 1,400 observation wells across the district.
We measure that water level at approximately the same time as the previous year to determine what change has occurred.
The water level is 113.85 feet.
We've been able to observe water level trends over many decades. Certainly over time, the aquifer has exhibited some decline, but that's where we see our job of conservation and informing people about stewardship is very important.
The threat to the Ogallala has led to folks rethinking the value of playas.
Somebody tried to plow through this and farm through this, and so we just kind of let the weeds and grasses come back, just trying to take this land back to nature. This is a playa lake that's in the restoration process. It's not complete. Part of it is sedimented over. You can see that berm because that was once farmed. Getting as many of those lakes restored back to their original function is extremely beneficial, because if you don't do that, those are gallons of free water that aren't available. Those are wildlife areas that are not available for the wildlife that travels through here.
Playa lakes are known as biodiversity centers, and that's everything from amphibians and toads to sandhill cranes, waterfowl. Basically, in an arid landscape, these features provide water for all the wildlife. The playas go from Texas all the way to Nebraska. That's the central flyway, that's the migratory path. They're hosting a couple million waterfowl during migration, and then over the winter they'll hold 1.5 million waterfowl. So very, very important resource.
If we can enhance the water holding capacity of the land with the native grasses and still be able to crop on that land with no-till technology, then when a raindrop falls on the earth, maybe we can catch 90% of it in the field and 10% of it goes to the lake, and hopefully that lake is functioning properly to where we catch a very high percentage of that 10%. We get some wildlife benefit of water on the lake, so the wildlife have a place to land, and it encourages that natural biodiversity also. That is ultimately what we're shooting for, is to balance our ecology with our economics.
I grew up hunting waterfowl in the Midwest and came to the high plains of Texas and saw these playas and really enjoy the habitat that they provide and the ducks that they draw. My wife and I started a family here, and so knowing the threats to our water, whether that's water quality or quantity, this work from a water perspective is pretty important to me. In the fall and the winter, these playas are incredible. You could come to a playa and potentially have tens of thousands of waterfowl. It's very impressive, and it's something to behold. Folks are beginning to buy in and beginning to become more excited about playa restoration and conservation, and that's very exciting for us.
Bastrop State Park is a place that connects people to the land.
Smelling the pine trees and hearing the pine needles just rubbing against each other when the wind blows, it's just so wonderful, and it takes me back to childhood.
Hi, Toby!
You also get a really awesome view of how a park bounces back and how nature bounces back after a fire.
There's a story here, and it's a really special story that is both deep-rooted and long-lasting.
During the Great Depression, the Civilian Conservation Corps came to Bastrop to create a new state park.
Historic Bastrop, third oldest settlement in Texas, is importantly represented in the development of the Lone Star State Park system.
One of the best features here is our historic Civilian Conservation Corps cabins. The boys that built them honed the stone and the wood right here from our landscape. During one of the most difficult times in our nation's history, young men came here to build Bastrop State Park. They built the very essence of what it is today. We're set amongst the Lost Pines of Texas, which is the westernmost stand of loblolly pines in the United States. There's a lot of different thoughts about why the lost pines are lost, but it simply means that we're a disjunct population of loblolly pines from that eastern pine stand in Texas. We have a beautiful mosaic of loblolly pine trees, oaks, and savanna grasses.
In 2011, a devastating fire tore through Bastrop. The fire dramatically altered Bastrop's landscape. But park visitors can now see a new forest rising from the ashes.
For those who know and love the Lost Pines, you're still going to find your majestic 80-foot pine trees that rustle in the wind. But today you're also going to find so much regrowth in the forest. Anytime someone comes to the park, they're going to see new grasses, new flowers, new shrubs popping up, and they're going to get to, over time, see the change in regrowth in this forest, which is truly a unique experience. Here at Bastrop State Park, we have so many great family things for people to do. Everything from camping, staying in one of our beautiful historic CCC cabins, using our trail system.
So basically what we're doing today is plein air painting, which means painting in the outdoors. We've got so much beauty here, but sometimes it's hard to slow down and take it all in whenever you're running and gunning. This is your creation. You'll get to take a little bit of nature home with you in that painting and remember Bastrop State Park.
This stuff is good. This is my first camp out. Well, I wouldn't say first, but first outside camp out.
That's some pretty good stuff.
sitting around, playing with my friends, and you get to see nature and its fine arts. I can already tell this tree is gonna grow tons of pine cones. It's like we lose teeth, but these lose pine needles.
Whether you're a history buff, a weekend warrior, or looking to reconnect with nature, Bastrop State Park is an ideal place to discover the hidden treasures of the lost pines.
What better thing to bring people together than the outdoors?
You can come and enjoy a peaceful weekend with the trees all around and overhead and just sit back and relax.
Guys, let's do spooky stories. We love Bastrop!
Along the edge of the Texas Panhandle, you'll find the Matador Wildlife Management Area. A colorful land of rolling plains and canyons spanning over 28,000 acres. The beauty and balance of this natural landscape is maintained by the regular use of an ancient tool: fire. On this spring morning, a crew of wildland fire specialists huddles for their 8 a.m. meeting.
And Derek Maloney, who is Derek, you got lined out on how to operate everything on that piece of equipment?
Especially.
All right.
Wrong to answer.
Yes, sir. I mean, if you don't know something, ask. It's our job to make sure we communicate the information to you, but it's your job to make sure you understand it.
All joking aside, these fire veterans, along with a few new recruits, are about to conduct some serious business. Today's job is a prescribed burn.
Right now, they're preparing to light a test fire. It gives us a pretty good indication of what the fire behavior is going to be like.
It's going to burn slow.
And since it's a test, if it doesn't work out, we can put the fire out, go for it another day.
Prescribed fire mimics the wildfires that shaped and sustained this landscape over thousands of years.
Fire is a natural process that has occurred forever out here. Whenever you don't have fire, brush encroaches. The more brush there is, the higher the fire danger is going to be during a dry year. So the more fire you put on the ground, the less the effects of a wildfire will be and the more controllable it'll be.
But prescribed fire isn't just for controlling wildfires. Fire knocks back invasive plants and returns nutrients to the soil. This promotes native species and helps create a balance of cover and forage for wildlife.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and send one torch on.
For burns as big as this one, the department assembles a large crew to complete the work. The person in charge of the fire is called the burn boss.
Burn boss, Wayne. Go ahead.
They oversee all personnel on the farm.
All right, copy that.
Next come the engine bosses,
Squad 1,
who drive the fire trucks and direct crews. Anybody in charge of the firing operation that actually lights the fires, they're called the firing boss. 5 to 7 person hand crews do the mop-up work once the fire burns through. Squad bosses are in charge of the UTVs with sprayers. And then there's the entry-level firefighter. They do all the grunt work and make everyone else look good.
All units stand by for 11 o'clock weather. Temperature is 64 degrees. Relative humidity is 41%. Down 11. Probability of ignition is 30%, up 10.
Right there, that tells us
or the humidity dropping and things kind of improving, well, this fire activity is going to increase a little bit. It's going to move a little bit better.
We started out this morning with 1 foot flame lengths. Now we're looking at 2 to 3 foot flame lengths and a little bit more fire behavior. The fire is gaining and moving. So warmer temperatures, warmer fuels, the sun does that job. A little bit more wind, it helps spread the fire.
But check the IAB, it should say.
And then just start drifting it along
on
the
the
road
inside
there.
or from the road?
Yep, just right there. Yeah, that's fine.
Along with the natural benefits of the work, these burns also help foster the next generation of fire professionals.
That stuff lights up like real quick. Those fires, hot. Everybody's working together as a team. I find that really awesome. Everybody's calling things over the radio. You got lookouts, people with the drip torches setting stuff on fire, people making sure there's no spot fires. It's making me want to pursue it more as a career every second I'm here.
Let's take it over here, right here.
It's been a real treat, a really good experience. Some of these guys have been doing this longer than I've been alive, which is just kind of hard to believe. I'm feeling tired, like I'm gonna need a few days rest before I think about coming out here again.
I kind of like that. When the humidity was a little higher, as far as good, everybody worked well together.
Prescribed fire is a great habitat management tool. Every time we do a fire, I feel like we're taking a big chunk out of our management of that area. And then when you come back 3 months later and you have all this tall grass and you have all the wildflowers out there, it just kind of brings it all together and you realize what you've accomplished.
This is the Packer Channel. We're on the north side. It's my favorite spot. To me, this is one of the most natural places I can be, you know, in the ocean, in the water, at the beach. I feel like this is such a luxury. I don't know how many times I just give thanks.
It's like a small surf community out here. It's a place you can come and just kind of relax and just get away from everyday, you know, struggles or problems that you might deal with. You can come out here and be yourself. It's a real friendly crowd. It's good for any age. There's people out here that are 70 years old and all the way from kids out here that are, you know, 5 years old. And you just come out here and you know, have some fun and catch some waves.
For me, surfing is a way that I connect with nature and with myself. It's really important to connect body, mind, spirit. There's something about surfing that really does that for me, and I think for a lot of people.
Out here, we're all equal. We're all doing the same thing. We're after the same goals. There's nothing. It's you and nature and your freedom, and it doesn't matter what color you are or how much money's in your bank account or anything. You're out here with people of all walks of life, just killing it.
This is my escape into nature and to connect and to leave all your baggage at the beach and you just let that stuff go. It's kind of like Texas Point Break.